Now, coming to other type of perceptions which are there in the society, some of these also again relate to the atrocities of Muslim kings in the history, and these atrocities are described in two forms. One is that they imposed jizya to see that the Hindus get converted into Islam. Because jizya is imposed, they will try to flee away from Hinduism, become Muslims, so that they don't have to pay jizya. Now this is again a wrong argument. We must point out, we must understand that all the Muslim kings did not impose jizya. It is only some of them who impose this type of a jizya. Number two, if we see that people's religion is not so cheap that to avoid a particular taxation, they will go away from that religion. The third point, if we see that if people become Muslims, they have to pay zakat. Zakat is 2.5% of one's earnings, while jizya was 1.25% of one's earning. So this is a totally wrong argument. This was one of the way of taxing of the people by the kings who were ruling at a particular time. No more motive should be attributed to it. Now here we see why this perception has come to stick. Most of these perceptions related to history of the medieval India, they have come to stay because of the communal historiography which was introduced by British. In this communal historiography, history is presented as if kings were ruling for the sake of religion, while the fact is that kings were primarily ruling for power and wealth. Another misperception which is held at a larger level is about the number of wives which the Muslims have. Now this misperception, whatever be its roots, today it is very clear that the adverse sex ratio does not permit any person from any religious community to have more than one wives. You must have heard that sex ratio is a number. What does it mean? It means number of females per 1,000 males. Now this sex ratio in India is 932. It is different in different communities. Amongst Muslims, this sex ratio is 936. So please tell me, if there are 1,000 males and 936 females, how can one male have 4 wives? Now this point came up from the history, from the origin of Islam. We know that Islam is a word which means peace by submission to the will of Allah. Islam itself stands for the word peace, and this word peace came into being because at that time there was lot of communal strife, lot of communal violence in the society. Different tribes were fighting with each other in the name of their own gods, and that time Muhammad Sahab said that there is only single God and we should not fight with each other. At that time, because of the multiple fights amongst the tribes, the number of females in the society was very high, as there were a lot of people getting killed in the wars. So at that time, because it was a feudal time, it was a time of landlordism. During the kingship, we know that the male domination, the patriarchal norms, they permitted the powerful men to have more than one wives. But today, in most of the Islamic countries, if we see, the Islamic countries where there has been freedom, where women have been able to enjoy the rights of freedom, in those countries, one of the major demands which they have been successful in achieving is abolition of polygamy. Many Muslim countries around and all that, the women have successfully achieved this social reform which was very much needed. The reflection of this comes in the Uniform Civil Code. Now this Uniform Civil Code, which is different for different religions, needs a lot of reform. But reform is possible only if the community feels at peace. If the community feels threatened from outside because of violence, the process of reform just cannot take place. That's why this at theoretical level, at the level of the law, at the level of the personal law, this concept of 4 wives for Muslims pertains, though in practice this is as good or bad as amongst any other religious community. Similarly, we see that people say, oh, these Muslims have so many children, they create so many children, and because of this they may exceed the population of Hindus and may become a major community in India, converting this into a Muslim nation. In year 2001, there was population census, and in this population census, some analysts, they took a criterion of number of children per family, means number of children per couple, number of children between one husband and wife. And this data was taken for 3 North Indian states of UP, Rajasthan and Bihar. And this data was compared to the 3 southern states, and that is Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. I am sure you can guess that the number of children per couple are lesser in the southern states. And it is very easy to guess why the number of children is less in the southern states. Because the number of children is related to the level of education, number of children is related to the social development of a community, and because in India there is a widespread poverty, widespread ghettoization amongst Muslim community, so sometimes we can find that many of those families who are poorer, who are illiterate, will have more number of children. This is not only amongst Muslims, even amongst many a tribal and even amongst many a Dalit, we see that the number of children is more. What is the reason? Because apart from other things, poor people also think that in case their child falls sick in a younger age, and if they don't have means to spend for their health care, what will happen to their children? Second point they regard as more the hands, more of them can earn and sustain the family. These two things go when the poor people are thinking about the size of their family.